Premier League football and my thoughts on the coming next week's league football results. Interesting so I just want to put in something just very, very quickly, because some news has broken since the last video I did, which was the West Brom versus West Ham post-match reaction video. So if you haven't already watched that, please go and do so. I noticed somebody's liked it, so thank you very much for that. It's got quite a few views already, so thank you guys. Actually, I'll say it when we want to go through the results. So, just to round up, on Friday nights, there was only one league game going on at the weekend in terms of the EPL and the Championship, which was Bournemouth at home to Brighton and Hove Albion. Bournemouth beat Brighton 2-1. From what I saw the highlights, it looked like quite a decent game. Brighton going up 1-0 and then Bournemouth coming back to win it, literally equalising, and then Jermaine Defoe with the winning goal, his first goal since he was on loan with Bournemouth when he was a junior. I think it's 2001. I think it was when he used to play for West Ham. So get on it, Jermaine. Okay, leading to Saturday's games. Don't know if this was the early kickoff or not. Don't know. No idea. Who cares really? I think it is. Yeah, it was. It was the early kickoff. It was. Come on, when you're ready. Crystal Palace versus Southampton, and Southampton were beaten 1-0. Sorry, Crystal Palace were beaten 1-0 by Southampton. Now, as I touched on my last video about the football in terms of the league, not just West Ham, I think it's a ridiculous thing that Roy Hodgson's come in. Yes, okay, he was a boyhood fan and he was a junior of theirs, blah, 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 blah. He's a dinosaur as far as I'm concerned, as I said beforehand, and it would appear that my thoughts are borne out, but he only had a few days, so we can't really judge him on that. Leading on to the 3 o'clock kickoffs, Huddersfield were at home to Leicester and they drew 1-1. Liverpool were at home to Burnley and they also drew 1-1. Newcastle were at home to Stoke and they beat them 2-1. Newcastle beat Stoke 2-1. Watford were at home to Man City, and this is the funniest result. I said 3-0 in the last video. I wasn't expecting it to be double that. It was 6-0 to Man City. Technically, you could say 2 of those goals were offside, but even so, 4-0. Watford weren't at it. It happens in every game. Some of the players aren't at the races. I mean, it's Watford versus Man City. There's only going to be one result anyway. It was still quite a decent side that was put out. But yeah, Watford just weren't there. I mean, they had their chances. But West Brom, West Ham 0-0. If you wanted my thoughts on that, go and check out my reaction, guys. I'm not going to go into it again. The late kickoff is Spurs at home to Swansea, and that was also a 0-0. And funnily enough, got on match of the day before our game. Surprise, surprise there. No bias in any shape or form from Gary Lineker. Turning to the Championship, Birmingham were at home to Preston, and Preston beat them 3-1. Now, this is what I wanted to talk about. Not surprising. Another dinosaur was in charge. Harry Twitchy Redknapp, and he subsequently lost his job as a result of that game. The bloke's 70. Same age as Hodgson. However long Hodgson's going to be at Palace for, I reckon it's going to be his last managerial post, I should say. And likewise, even Redknapp's come out and said that he reckons this is going to be his last ever managerial job. So yeah, there's not much really to say. Brentford were at home to Reading and drew 1-1. Bristol City were at home to Derby. Bristol beat Derby 4-1. Funnily enough, on Match of the Day, they showed some highlights of... I can't remember when it was now. But West Ham beat Derby 5-1. That was a long time ago. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I don't think that was league. I think that was cup. That was one of the cups. It was Noble was in the squad and Tompkins was in the squad, and Carlton Cole was as well. I think, along with Scott Parker. So it's possibly. It could have been. I think it was the championship. I think it was the championship game. I honestly can't remember, but it was interesting to watch those highlights. Burton were at home to Fulham, and surprise, Burton beat Fulham 2-1. Cardiff and Sheffield Wednesday was 1-1. Hull versus Sunderland again 1-1. Ipswich at home to Bolton 2-0 Ipswich. Borough at home to QPR. Borough beat them 3-2. Must have been quite a good game. Millwall at home to Leeds, and Millwall beat Leeds. Leeds, what's going on, guys? Come on, sort yourselves out. Notts Forest were at home to Wolves, and Wolves beat them 2-1. Sheffield United were at home to Norwich City, and Norwich beat them 1-0. And the last one of the championship was Barnsley at home to Villa, and Villa beat Barnsley 3-0, which is a given. I mean, it's Barnsley, for fuck's sake. You know. Turning to today's games, was only two. Those two were Premier Leagues. Chelsea Arsenal 0-0. David Luiz sent off. I think a point at this stage is good for either's team. And Man United were at home to Everton, and Man United absolutely tonked them 4-0. Lukaku is not exactly Everton fans' favourite at the moment because he's celebration. And also, I think when the third or fourth goal went in, he turned around to the Everton away fans and shushed them. It's a lack of respect. I don't care who you are and who the teams are. Yes, okay, they were probably giving him grief all game, which is probably why he was doing what he was doing. So he's severed his ties with that club. It's just a shame because if he had stayed with West Brom, he wouldn't have got his move to Man United. If he'd stayed with Chelsea, he wouldn't have got his move to Man United. So don't bite the hand that feeds you, boy. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely fucking stupid that he did that. But that's who he is. Now, as everybody knows, it's the League Cup this weekend. So there's not much match reviews to go with. Saturday is our game against Spurs, the early kickoff. I can't call this. I really can't call this. I want to say we will win it 1-0, like we did last season, and in the last season at the Bowling Ground as well. That we put a dent in their Champions League aspirations. But that was because it was a lot later on in the season. This early on, who knows? It wasn't a very good performance on yesterday, 3 o'clock kickoff. So, and to be honest, Spurs didn't do all that well yesterday at Wembley either. So, I don't know. I really can't call that. I want to say 1-0. I don't think it will be. We may beat them 2-1. It could be a 2-2 draw. They may do us 3-1. I don't know. It'd be one of those three. Burnley at home to Huddersfield. Burnley are turning into quite a good team this season. They've taken some decent points. They beat Chelsea the first game of the season. And who else? They drew with Arsenal. And I think Arsenal. What was it? I don't know. But they're looking pretty good. Burnley are difficult at home. Huddersfield. As I say, they drew with Leicester. So I don't know. I mean, Huddersfield are still on quite a good points. They've had 1, 2. So they got 6 points from 5 games. That's not bad. That's especially for a team of like Huddersfield. No disrespect to you guys, but it's a good result. It's a good. The point was good. They've only lost 1 in the 5, and I'm glad that it's us that they lost to. But as I say, I mean their fans were brilliant. I mean some of them were arrogant little tossers, but that's because they were enjoying themselves, and some of our fans got their own backs up on it as a result. So I'm not really bothered about that. But I'm glad I said at the beginning of the season, I hope they stay up. You know, it'd be a good story. I can't see it, but it'd be a good story. Everton at home to Bournemouth. Could be a draw, I think. Either that or, well, bearing in mind Everton Bournemouth last season 6-3 to Everton. So it could be a game, but they had Lukaku last season. They don't now. They've got Wayne Rooney in his place. No disrespect to old Wayne, but you know he's not as prolific. You know, he's more of a number 10 now than an out-and-out striker or number 9. So it could be interesting, but I've got a funny feeling Everton might just do it because I think Koeman's going to absolutely lay into him and tell him that lose under any circumstances, and you're on your bike in January. He's that sort of manager. You know, he will lay down the law to him. I mean, yes, okay, it was Man U. They were beaten 4-0 by Man U. We were beaten 4-0 by Man U on the opening day. So, yeah. Man City Palace. City. Southampton Man United. Southampton gonna tonk them, I reckon. Stoke City Chelsea. Now this could be a difficult one because they're at the bridge. Excuse me one moment. Still got my cold. You know, they're up at Stoke. They're up at the Potters. It's a hard place to be. You know, as Man U found that. So it could be a draw, but I've got a funny feeling Chelsea will turn them over. Swansea Watford. Swansea will take some bonuses drawing 0-0 with Spurs. Watford will be licking their wounds because of their result against City. I don't know. Really can't call that. Could be a draw. Leicester versus Liverpool. Klopp is not good enough at the moment in terms of grinding out results. His defensive issues are there yet again. You know, the Liverpool way seems to be you score 2 or score 3. Yes, it's a point at the weekend, but it's a big worry in that terms. And they're at Leicester. I've got a funny feeling Leicester might turn them over, to be honest with you. I really, really do. Okay, looking at the Championship. Bolton at home to Brentford. It depends what happens in the cup, I should imagine, when we play them on Tuesday night. But I've got a funny feeling Brentford may do it. Derby versus Birmingham City. I don't know, can't call it. Fulham against Middlesbrough. Sorry guys, but I think it's just going to be a Middlesbrough away win. Leeds versus Ipswich. Could be a draw. Norwich versus Bristol City. If Norwich want to get back into the playoff positions this time, they're going to have to beat them. I don't think they will, but they're going to have to do it. Preston versus Millwall. I hate to say it, but I've got a horrible feeling Millwall are going to do it. Preston aren't playing all that well at the moment. Yes, okay, they beat Birmingham yesterday, but I don't know. Millwall are going on a decent run at the moment, and Preston are having an uneven run at the minute, from what I've seen. QPR Burton Albion. It should be a QPR win. I've got a funny feeling it's going to be a draw. Reading Hull. I've got a feeling that's going to be a draw as well. Sunderland Cardiff. Could be a 1-1. Wolves versus Barnsley. 2-1 to Wolves, I think. And Villa versus Notts Forest. I think 2-1 to Villa as well on that. And then we come to the Sunday games. There's only one in the Premier League, I should say, and that's Brighton at home to Newcastle. I don't know. Brighton were beaten at the weekend, beaten yesterday, and Newcastle did a great performance at home to Stoke. Newcastle away to Brighton. I think Newcastle are going to do this, to be honest. I really don't think they will. The Championship is the Sheffield Derby, Wednesday versus United. The Black Country Derby, some may refer to it as. Fucking great. I reckon Wednesday might do this actually. I don't know, it's just something in my bones are saying that Wednesday could do it. We'll see what happens. Don't do your rackers on me, guys. Don't do your accumulators. And Monday night, Monday the 25th, Arsenal at home to West Brom. Both teams had a draw at the weekend. But I've got a funny feeling Arsenal are going to regroup and absolutely do them. But it'll be a very, very difficult 1-0, I think, for Arsenal. Where are we? And that's about it, I think. I don't think there's any other games coming up because it's all... oh, no, Tuesday, Monday. We're going to Championship Monday? Nope. Tuesday night, Barnsley versus QPR. That should be a QPR away win, I should imagine. Brentford versus Derby. It should be Derby. It should be a Brentford home win, but I've got a funny feeling it could also be a draw as well. Bristol City versus Bolton. Bolton is scrapping at the moment because they're rock bottom of the Championship still. Depending how the midweek game, their weekend game goes, I've got a funny feeling Bristol might just edge it, but again, it could be a draw. Burton versus Villa, could be a draw there. Cardiff versus Leeds, I think Leeds will do them. Hull versus Preston, that's got a Hull win written all over it. Ipswich versus Sunderland, I've got a funny feeling it'll be 2-1 Ipswich. Borough versus Norwich, should be a Middlesbrough home win. Gary Monk's getting them playing quite well. Millwall versus Reading, please Reading, sort yourselves out. Beat Millwall, come on, right, give it, smack their run. And Forest against Fulham. Sorry guys, but I think this is going to be a Fulham home away defeat. So I think Forest are going to do it. So apologies for the quality of this camera. For some reason the phone is being a bit weird. So there's a few lines jumping up all over again, like I'm back in the old days of my band rehearsal and the certain frequencies making it vibrate. So apologies for this, guys, but there's nothing else I can really do about it. It's at the best settings I can do. Championship game Wednesday, Birmingham versus Sheffield Wednesday. I don't know. See Birmingham bring in for next weekend and this fixture as well. So I've got a funny feeling it could be Sheffield Wednesday. And then Sheffield United versus Wolves, could be a draw, I reckon. And where else are we? Thursday night? No, that's it. And then Friday, I'll do that next weekend because that's the weekend of football as well. So thank you very much, guys, and apologies for the quality and apologies for my sniffling. I've still got a bit of a bunged up nose. Hopefully my camera should be delivered at some point next week. Ideally, I've asked them to leave it in a secure location Monday because I'm not taking the time off to Monday. If it isn't, then hopefully Wednesday, but we'll see. And so hopefully the quality will be a lot better because it's a Nikon and a very good Nikon as well. So in the meantime, guys, thank you very much for your time. It's nice to see you over the last couple of days. And I wish you all the best and enjoy the week, and I will see you on Saturday. Take care. Bye bye.